right, let's jump right in with something that, honestly, it's wild how many layers this has. We're talking the seven spirits of God, which, shows up right in the book of Revelation. And look, I always get tripped up in which verse is which, but it's something like the seven lamps burning before the throne, lightning and thunder, and all that drama, right? So, what does it actually mean, though? Because these seven spirits pop up a few times, and people get real mystical about it. Now, one take goes way back to Isaiah, is that these are not just seven angels or whatever. It's the so-called sevenfold spirit. There's wisdom, understanding, counsel, might, knowledge, fear of the Lord, and the Spirit itself. I'm like, how many times can you break up one big cosmic energy? A lot, apparently. Some folks even tie those graces or charisms from Romans into it. So, like all of your spiritual gifts, that's part of the seven. Sometimes people think these mean literal beings, like think archangels. But most modern thinkers are like, it's symbolism. But the number seven, if you're into numerology or just like ancient codes, shows up everywhere for a reason. In a bunch of those mystical systems, seven stands for wholeness or perfection. Like, the rainbow's got seven colors, the notes, the days, it just keeps going. And you see those lamps of fire in Revelation. That's, to me, a direct reference to how older traditions use number and symbol to point at energies you can't even put words around. So if you picture it, these aren't just old-timey poetic lines, but living energies, archetypes almost. The seven spirits as a kind of energetic map. When I was starting out, I'd see that seven lamp vision and instantly thought of things like chakras, or the way other ancient systems track energy moving through subtle bodies. Maybe that's a stretch, or maybe it's the pattern speaking in different tongues. And I might be overextending the metaphor, but isn't that what symbols are for? You get to dance with the meaning a bit, see if it fits. I don't know, I find that exciting. So that all leads right into this next thing that just kind of blew my mind the first time I really sat with it. Light codes. What are light codes, right? They sound all sci-fi. But really, these are like mini packages of universal info. Everything's energy, everything's light. And light turns into info when you focus awareness. At least that's what Laura's saying in Light Codes for the Soul. By the way, that book, if you haven't skimmed it, just open a random page and let your intuition see what it says today. The big thing is our language. It kind of sucks for trying to talk about how the universe really works. Like light language, with its sounds and symbols and flows, it's multidimensional, not just what our mouth can say. If you're using so-called light language or drawing codes, you're plugging in directly, bypassing the limitations of ordinary speech. And you can feel it. Art, dance, music, even math. All the stuff that hits you in the chest instead of your head. It's a transmission. And if you want to try for yourself, you don't need to do some grand ritual. The first step is grounding. Sit down, flat feet, breathe slow. Imagine your feet pulling up energy from the earth, like suction cups, no joke. On the inhale, pull the energy up. On the exhale, let it flow out the top of your head. This kind of grounding is in all sorts of traditions, but here it gets you receptive, like you're tuning your radio for a clear signal. I do this a lot before I even touch a symbol, just to get present. From there, it's intention, tracing, feeling. Tracing a light code could be one you made up, could be one from somebody else, gets you out of your head and moving energy, not just thinking. And crystals. You want to anchor that energy, Try charging a crystal by setting it on top of a code. Ask for the loving energies to work through it, then carry it or meditate with it. You might be wondering, does it matter what the symbol means in words? Well, symbolic languages transcend that. Sometimes your body, soul, energy just gets it without explanation. When you interact consciously, it's like your soul recognizes an old friend and gets a little boost. Downloads of stuff you don't even have to understand. And if you're skeptical, that's cool, but don't be surprised if you interact with some code and something subtle starts shifting in you anyway. Happens more than I'd like to admit. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, let your experience teach you, not the words. Now, here's where things go super deep, because these symbols, like the Vecca codes, aren't just abstract little drawings. According to the teachings, they are literally alive, sentient, mathematical beings. This blew my circuits the first time I read about it in the MCEO Freedom Teaching stuff. These codes are in our own DNA, in the Earth's DNA templates. They interact with our consciousness, and when you start working with them, embedding them, chanting their tones, you're not just doodling. You're entering a living relationship with aspects of creation itself. So practical, if you want to actually work with these so-called consciousness technologies, there's a sequence. And listen, I mess this up all the time, but here's the gist. You can activate a code by placing it on your body, gazing at it, breathing through it, sometimes even drawing it on your skin or at your altar space. And the magic is partly in using your voice. Ancient toning, sound codes, chanting out the sequence tied to that symbol. Man, I can't carry a tune, but I'll hum the tone anyway, because it's about resonance, not performance. Then you focus, hold a clear intention, hum or chant, and let the code's energy lock in with your DNA and your energy grids. And here's the wild part. These codes, like Bivecca or Trivecca, aren't just for personal shifts. They're tools for planetary, even cosmic healing, or so the manuals say. When I first tried meditating with a symbol and singing the associated sound, it was honestly terrible. I was out of key. But I felt this weird, vibrant sense, like every cell was listening. For a second, there was this blurring, like being part of something way bigger. Like you and the code and the sound are collaborating in some massive act of co-creation. Even if it sounds a little out there, it's the feeling that tells you there's something real in the practice, even if you can't quite explain it. So, is this about drawing cool symbols, or is it about evolving your consciousness and tuning into universal flows? From what the sources are saying, it's the latter, and it's not about belief, just practice, intention, and experimenting for yourself. Even a simple chant, a sketched code, and a quiet intention can spark a subtle shift. And if you stick with it, the teachings hold that you're building not just personal power, but kind of anchoring a new template for what's possible on this planet. Alright, so that's my attempt to unpack the mystical tech of codes, symbols, and conscious sound. If you made it through that, you're way ahead of the curve. Next time, we'll dig even deeper, maybe into actual symbol practices or decode even wilder stories. For now, keep playing, keep feeling, and let the codes guide your next step. Catch you next time.